Hi, today we're talking about banjo, specifically miking the banjo for live and recorded use. So my experience with clawhammer banjo is that it's difficult to have good live sound. Recorded is a little bit easier. So I'm going to talk through some of the gear that I use. First thing is a large diaphragm condenser microphone like this one. I'm very carefully going to lift it up. There you go. That's what I'd use for any recorded stuff, and it's got the best spread of frequencies and picks up the most detail. Obviously, it's also very sensitive. This particular one is an Audio Technica 4033A, which was big in the 90s and 2000s, I think, for bluegrass bands, because it's got a really wide dispersion and pickup range and a nice flat frequency response. So a lot of people use them live as kind of one mic setup. I use it recorded. The thing I always do with any recorded banjo is run it through a compressor first, just to kind of squash it a little bit and take away some of the attack. Okay, so when I'm playing live though, I can't take this microphone out. In the pubs and places that I play, it's simply too noisy in the room to use a microphone like this. It would pick up all the noise, you wouldn't hear any banjo. So where does that leave us? Well, we then move on to, I guess, normal instrument mics that you'd have used. So here are two dynamic microphones. This is a Shure SM57, and this is a Heil PR30, which is an alternative. And these are two really good dynamic mics that you might use for live banjo playing. Probably the 57 is the most ubiquitous with any kind of live instrument sound. Rejects feedback really well, picks up an instrument really naturally because it has a nice hump in the EQ that makes instruments sound really nice. So I recorded a video earlier today, and I'll put a clip in of these two mics playing. Now, the other way that you can amplify banjo live in particular is to put the pickup system or the microphone somewhere within the banjo itself. And as a guitarist, this speaks to me particularly because I'm used to having pickups in my guitar. So what you can do is you can stick on a couple of piezo pickups here underneath the bridge. I find that for clawhammer banjo, this doesn't really translate that well. Piezo pickups are really good at picking up attack. And so for 3-finger bluegrass style, this might be okay, but I feel like it loses the actual natural dynamics of clawhammer banjo playing. So what you would do then is, if you're not going to use a piezo, you have to move on to a microphone. And so the question is whether you can fit a microphone somehow in the banjo, or there are gooseneck systems that go on top. This whole question changed for me when I saw Chris Ludica, Old Man Ludica, play at the Signet Folk Festival a few years ago. And he had the most fantastic banjo sound ever. And it wasn't just a microphone that was out the front. It seemed to be far more natural than I could hear any normal microphone produce. So I sent him an email after the gig, said, I was really inspired. How did you amplify your banjo so well? And he said that he used this small condenser system. And so I picked one of them up off eBay for, I think, $70 or something like that. So this is an Audio Technica Pro 70. Let's see if this focuses in. Yeah, so what it is, it's a small condenser microphone that you can clip on. So they've got a guitar attachment that goes on the sound hole, another one for a gooseneck. But I use them on the dowel stick in here. And so what I would do is I would probably get a strap for a lead, like a Velcro strap, and place it in there. And it produces a pretty good sound. So I'm going to attach this inside and do a couple of sounds. So what you do is you just put it in the pot like this, and you put it a couple of inches away from the head. I haven't attached that particularly well. Number one, I don't want to have sticky tape residue in there. Number two, I'm doing this in a rush. But what this gets is a similar tone to a microphone on the outside. Not exactly the same, because we're listening to the inside of the pot, which is not where your ear normally hears a banjo. So I'm going to plug this in. Comes with a belt pack that runs off phantom power, and you can also run it off a battery by itself, and it has a high cut filter as well. Okay, back on the large diaphragm condenser, just to give you a comparison. Same tune. So there you go. A couple of different ways to mic clawhammer banjo live and recorded. Let us know what you think.